Good morning, everybody. Jack Leeson with StartupTrading.com. It is September 23rd here, 9:21 in the morning. Taking a look at the NASDAQ here. One of the levels I did not point out yesterday that I do want to point out today. Um, we actually traded the extension from the high pre-FOMC last week too high. And that negative 61 is going to be something I want to pay attention to here. Maybe if we get up to it today, it's 25,107. And still that weekly target, just to be clear, is up here. Let me zoom in. It is 25,273, and that is from the pullback on the tariff news, and that we are up more than 50% out of that low. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Moving back to the hourly chart. So this extension, this is what held pre-market, and then yesterday off the open, it was just a ripper. I was looking at this variation of a traditional, I believe it was like Friday's low to high, which also, a lot of times there's overlapping sequences that um, are valid. But at any point in time, if we are to break lower this extension, I'm going to watch our 38% retracement, and that's going to be my discount zone. And then the negative 61 of the draw from the prior day is just above us. I'd be a little concerned if we swept into that high and then immediately got rejected. That's 25,036. So if we sweep up higher, we've done nothing overnight. We've really done a whole lot of nothing overnight. So if we sweep higher and then reverse, I'd be looking for a move maybe back down to that 24,882. But let's go over yesterday's sequences starting out of the pre-market lows, and I'll show you guys where we were. So coming out of the low at 8 o'clock, we had a traditional, we had another traditional, we had another traditional, and then we had another traditional. There's just all traditionals here. Um, and then it was not until we got all the way up to the negative 100 that we even attempted an extension. And overnight, that is all we have held is this extension. But because we had traditional, 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 I'm thinking if we are to sweep lower in the morning, I want to watch that 1135 low to high, and that's going to give me a traditional of 24,962. Now, if we do just get a continuation from and hold overnight lows, so that would be a sweep of the overnight liquidity down into 24,962 and then a potential reversal. Otherwise, you have a continuation higher up into 25,000, above 25,040. So those are the two variations that I'm looking for here this morning. Either a sweep above 25,000 540 and then potentially a reversal, or a sweep of the overnight liquidity, taking out those overnight lows, Asian low, European session low, and then we need to come right into this 24,962 and stick it, and stick it. If we don't, then I do think we're going to get back down into this lower extension here, which I will draw if we break. I will draw this extension if we break the 61. So if we break back below 24,940s, I will draw that to the new high. But right now I want to leave the old draw up so I can pay attention to that negative 61 here. So yeah, that's what I got for the NASDAQ. For the S&P, there was what I had was there was this extension that traded on Thursday of last week. We completed that negative 23% profit target. Okay, so that's an important note because just like yesterday, the NASDAQ began trading what was really the extension from the 16th. We want to be aware of that here for the ES. We want to be aware of that level. That's a very important support below us. We're drawing the pre-market high before FOMC last week. Let me get this exact high. And I'm going to move up my discount zone to that 38% retracement. If we sweep down below us, That's what I'm anticipating to hold. The 38, pay attention to this level. 67.33, setting an alert there. 67.33. Setting an alert. Oh, set that wrong. Setting an alert at 67.26 half as well. At or below. And then this one at or below. Okay, so I want alerts on both of those levels, and if we make new highs, I'll move them up. What seems to be holding in a more aggressive sequence right now is we'll go through yesterday out of the low, very similar to the NASDAQ. You have a traditional, you have your next traditional. That goes. Now, the difference is the ES started extensions from the 935 high. We traded it here to target, same anchor new high to target. We go into a new extension that completes targets. So this anchor here from 1005 to high is what I want to watch immediately below us. If we get that equivalent sweep in the NQ lower, the equivalent sweep into the 24,964, you're going to be looking for the ES to trade 67, call it 67.40 simultaneously. The most aggressive extension here in the ES you can see is from that high at 1055 to high. Now in the overnight, we've bounced and bounced and bounced. And if you guys were here at the end of the day, this is actually had orders on these extensions, but I got out of them in the overnight session. The lower extension has not yet traded. So this is what I'm going to be paying attention to here in the ES. But the best level if we were to trade it in the ES is this 67.33. 67.33 would be my highest confidence support level here for the NASDAQ or for the ES. And that is the extension 38% retracement. There's one confluence there. It's the pre-FOMC high to high, and it's also the 935 high to high at the 50. So there's a double confluence there at that 67.33, and it's probably my highest confidence level of support. So that's what I have here on the indexes. I am kind of like this. This is quite a tight range, and I would not be surprised to see us drop down through it and trade those deeper levels. Now, if we go to some other markets like gold and oil, why is that not? I'm like trying to, oh, there you are. Okay. So this is now gold and oil. Gold continues to go to the moon. Boy, if you got gold coins sitting in your house, you were chilling. I remember when gold was like 1,200 an ounce. Here it up, it's 3,800. I mean, look at this weekly chart now. It was, I mean, this is, look at this weekly chart. That's pretty insane. This looks like a stock. It does not look like a commodity. Or it looks like a commodity market of the 80s or something. But just explosive. The highest target I have, 38.29. We can continue to go just because I don't have targets above. Doesn't mean we can't continue to move higher. Ding. But we had an extension on the lows of last week that completed its negative 23% profit target. We now have the highs of last week, Wednesday's high to high, as the next major support level below. We also had, I think, let me actually check if this already traded. I think it may have. Yeah, you could argue traded at 38. It's already completed once to target. So that same anchor, new high, the 38% retracement, I'm just going to set an alerts 37.94 as I'm setting my alert at 37.94. And then I'm also setting an alert at 37.84 half. That is my other level of interest. And oil has broken officially out of its downtrend. If you guys remember yesterday, I actually took one trade in oil to the long side. We had completed an extension, and that extension, you know, once we completed, I was bearish, we were going lower, but we completed the extension, and then we put in a bottoming pattern. We had an inverse fair value gap, and then we started holding longs, and we've completely broken that extension sequence now. We've completely broken. We traded the 38 yesterday. We rotated back to the previous swing low here that I have marked by this dotted white line, and we have rotated higher. We have rotated higher. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm not really interested in chasing an extension sequence up here just quite yet. If we get down to the upper mid, I wouldn't really take any longs above the upper mid. So if we're gonna stay up here, this thing will just have to head out without me. But if we can get a full halfway back from today at a 67.52, I'd love to be a market participant. And I'll take a look at that. You know, if we're going into lunch, we're still hanging out up here. I'll observe some sequences. But that's what I got here for CL and gold, which are really just quite a bit away from my most bullish setups. I mean, if you really want to get aggressive in gold, you got the extension from the 9 o'clock high last night that's already traded, and there's no reason it can't work. I mean, this thing literally just is up 1% day after day. It's just, it is. They said Bitcoin was the new gold. Well, guess what? Gold's the new Bitcoin. Nobody cares about Bitcoin right now at all. Bitcoin's trading like trash. All right, so let's get on into these indexes. Market's open here. Throw my studies back on so I can confuse you guys. Just kidding. So yeah, basically looking for those sweep lowers, and if we get a move higher first, so be it. But really, this range in these indexes is a brutal thing to look at. It's a brutal. I mean, silver is flying too. Silver's up 1.3%. Both those markets, you can just. I mean, gray move during the Asian sessions. Silver as an extension from the 335 AM high to high right now, if you want to chart it. But these indexes here. Just need to break out of this chop. A lot of overlap and action. ATR and the ES is 2 points going into the open. New high in the ES. Through the overnight session, no new high in the NQ. Just watching. Not much to do right now. Gotta wait for my levels. Pulling the most aggressive draws right now. We may need that sweep higher before. I mean, the ES is basically at highs and the NASDAQ is coming off a new low. In the first 5 minutes, the NASDAQ took out the low of the overnight session and the ES took out the high of the overnight session. I cannot tell you the last time I saw that. In the first 5 minutes, they took out opposite ranges. ES took out its high and the NASDAQ took out its low. You need a pretty tight range to be able to do that. That is not something you're gonna see. I wish I had like some type of financial grok or AI where I could type in how many times have we done that, but I don't have that kind of access. I'm sure somebody does. All right, looks like the ES is gonna roll over. I'm gonna sell ES. It's actually the NASDAQ's heading into that support, but the ES isn't at it yet, so I'm a little cautious that we could drop lower. All right. I'm not sticking my neck out on this NQ support. I have chosen instead to short the S&P, anticipating us to trade the S&P support. No reason to keep the stop above this candle though. Go down to a 1 minute chart here on the NASDAQ, see if there's I'm going to draw the 1 minute series in the NQ. Get rid of the extended session here in the ES. Just take a look at what this would look like if we dropped into lower levels. 43. All right, officially broke the 61 of that draw. That's good. So yeah, I got nothing in the NASDAQ really to back to the midpoint. So follow the sequence lower here in the NQ. I think we need to kind of confirm above. We could fall all the way back down. And remember this morning I talked about this extension I draw to the new high once we broke. Well, here we've broken, and that extension drawn to the new high. That 38 is this level, and then the 50 is all the way down at 24. 4,836. Just check some things in the ES. Don't need this. You get below that prior day's close really to get moving lower for the ES. PMI is out. I do not know the number. Check it. See what it says. No, pretty close to what was expected. So Looks like we might hold. Gold retesting its extension from the overnight high. Still think these indexes are going to roll over, but they're taking a bit. Pump there in oil. Oil continues to rally. I tried to sell the halfway back short for the day in the Nasdaq, no fill. Still short the ES. Out a little tight. We made one little new high, but I don't see any continuation so far. I'm long gold, short ES. Still thinking we're gonna roll over. But even if we push higher, I'm not interested in chasing this ES up here. This we need to pull into these support levels, and I think once that ES flushes, the Nasdaq's going to trade its support. Just a liquidity sweep in gold. I saw the highest volume. I saw us like I got gold obviously on my screen. Only so much I can fit on the YouTube, but we traded down. It was the highest 5-minute volume in just a hammer candle with a 61 stick. So that's why I bought gold. And we'll see. I mean, we target new highs if this holds like gold has been. I mean, and gold is hyper bullish. Best trade all day so far. Great quick reaction. I'm gonna just bring it into view, but this extension, and I mentioned it when I was trading. I said we were trading that 9 o'clock high to high. I didn't really. We had already traded it, so I wasn't gonna limit it. But then I saw this volume spike with the hammer candle, and I just dragged an order in, and figured I could put a stop below that low, which was like 5 points. And this target is up at 38.31, so I could risk 5 points for 20, potentially max reward. Still dripping lower here. Don't see nothing down there till 24,882. Don't see. play here. Looking for the ES to trade 67.39 to 67.43 area. But like we just need to crack this. Basically, as soon as we get to the gap fill, I think we're going to continue lower and get that 67.39. At any point in time, let me go to the 1 minute chart here in the NQ. Just follow this series down. We're actually pretty aggressive. We're trading. I tried to draw this full halfway back short and short that 76. I had an order at 76, 24,976 to short NASDAQ. Didn't get a fill. We traded like 71, 72. And this ES has gone kind of nowhere for me. But it'll go. She'll go. Grab myself some blueberries. Come on, you guys. Little tart, little tart. That is a strong move in CL. All right, we've completed. I'm gonna draw that next measured move in the NASDAQ, as well as the full halfway back short for the day. Half an hour into the day, and the ES has moved like 6 or 7 points. Big range. Watch out. Once ES gets down to 6739, we'll know. Here we go. Here we go. We're going nowhere. We're going nowhere. Could just be due for a new high in the ES here. 67, 62 area. Pull my stop below or above that high. Been in this trade for 25 minutes. I haven't gone anywhere. I did not. short gold now. We broke the 61. We broke the 61. And with that, we can. I don't have support down for 37.95 area, so I flipped the script there. Not a whole lot to talk about when we're not moving. This ES needs to crack below 67.47. See if oil's topping out here finally. Bring gold in my screen and explain that short. So I took the long, I took the long here. We rallied, and then we came back and we tagged this 61. That's a break of support. And that was a big volume candle for us to get back below that. And so I just shorted a retest of where we broke down from. I got short really the same place I was long. 38.11s because I don't have any support now until we get back to where I was talking about the morning trade plan, which is a 37 like 94 area. So I got long. We rallied, but then we came immediately back below that. And when we came back below that, that told me that this trend is probably going to fail. So then I got short a retest of where we broke down from, and I'm gonna be able to manage that position. I can move my stop pretty tight here, but we should fall, I mean, we could fall further than what I'm anticipating, but I'm looking for about 16 points. Pretty big move. But gold's technical. Even though my bias is long, you gotta understand and know when it's flipping. So this ES is getting quite boring for me, but we'll see if this Nasdaq trades. I'm gonna look at the full short from the prior day. This is a valid short, absolutely in the NQ. There's gonna be the short from the prior day's high, the short from today's high. That's gonna give you like a zone here. 24,978 is the short from the prior day's high. Yep. Short gold, short ES. Those are my positions right now. Short ES from 67.51 half, short gold from 38.11. ES target right now is 67.35, or sorry, 67.39 half, and my gold target is 37.95. quick stretch. If we can crack the 67.47, this is the extension from yesterday. And the ES was going to get that waterfall down to 39s, but we need to break that. Oil's still chugging along here. Oh, I didn't realize I was short so many contracts in gold, honestly. Thought I was short too. I was like, why my P&L keep climbing? Oh, I thought I was short 2 contracts in gold and I'm short 3. Oops. Not a bad mistake. At least not right now. All right, coming down. Gold could, or Nasdaq couldn't even get up into that next traditional. We're holding more aggressive than that. Or the halfway. I've been wanting to short the halfway back short, but just cannot get it for the day. We're cannot get it. This is weak. I'm gonna make myself a coffee. Okie dokie. What'd you guys do while I was gone? Not a whole lot. Back at that 67.47. It might be till 11:30 we crack that. Either that or it's here to hold. Oh, I'm so annoyed with it. I'm gonna short into 24.977 in the NQ if we get up there. 24.9s. Just feel like I'm very tempted to get out of the ES. It's because it's been in it so long. I mean, it could still work, but I don't like being in trades that really aren't going anywhere. I'd rather just not be in it. Uh, So the 67.47 that's traded as support, I want to see this crack within 25 minutes. And if we don't crack it, then I will just take off my ES and let it be. And we'll just have to come back at a different time frame because that would just mean we're holding this support again. I don't think it's going to happen, but at some point you have to decide when are you going to manage the trade. Are you just going to manage the trade on price? I'm going to move my stop down. I like to manage trade on price and time. Like if you've been in a trade for an extended period of time, which in this case I've been in this trade for 25 minutes plus, so I'm going to move my stop to down. And then as far as gold goes, we are bouncing back, and I don't like that. I'm going to move my stop down in gold to not letting that turn into a loss. Just hoping we'd get a little further, but we have not. So it could have just been a temporary liquidation, considering you have to be careful with like staying short for too long in a market that has been uptrending. Like we got that a liquidation break and it lasted 25 minutes and now we've rallied. But if we continue to rally, I need to see us roll over here again in gold, and we are pushing lower, doing what I finally want to see, and see if we can get some stops hit. As we are approaching now, the gap has been filled in the ES. We're getting towards the lows of the afternoon of the prior day, and I want to see that break and stay broken. My stop to what I have as a 60. I'm gonna move my stop down to like 0.99 here in gold, and move my stop one more time in yes. Been a little tighter with my trail. That's definitely something when you are trending like a counter trend, like in this case, gold's been like super bullish, and you get that swift move down. You do want to trail it tight. I didn't do that there. I'll still end up making a little bit of money. Maybe I'll still get my full target, but I definitely could have trailed it out at like 4 points lower here, just because of how strong that uptrend has been. I do have on my next support at 37.84s. What do you guys got on? What's everyone else doing? Nice. All right, gold pushing lower. I'm gonna cover my ES. Just been in it long enough. And then I'll take the NASDAQ if that trades. So, I mean, I took ES off for 3.5 points. And I'm going to engage in a new position here. Just got short the NASDAQ instead. NASDAQ's been weaker, so I'd rather cover my EI. I don't want both positions at the same time. So I'd rather be short the weaker market if it's as opposed to just holding my ES. I'm taking a new position in the NQ. So if I stayed in the ES, like of course I can tighten my stop, but I would realistically, if I'm either gonna win on both trades or lose on both trades, and I'm not really interested in having like the same position, that's basically the same position. So in that case, I just covered my ES for a small profit and took a new position in the weaker market. And I front ran that. I put my order in front of that 50, and thank goodness I did because I would have not been filled at 77s. It's been weak all morning, and that's just a liquidity sweep higher. Just a little pop, no continuation. We're going right back down. I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes from that level. It is 10:45, so by 11:10, I'm going to be able to make another decision whether I want to hold that position or not. ATRs are pretty tight here. 6.5 for the ES, 32 in the NASDAQ. Not a lot of volatility so far. Look at that reaction. That's what you want to be in. That's the trade you want to be in. You want to hit that tick. Like I said, the ES I've been sitting in forever. Like, I get a little frustrated when you're sitting in a trade that's gone 3 points in 40 minutes. pretty good reaction. So what I like to do is this 1040, we're gonna go out to 11:15 and let it rip. Don't really like the way gold is trading here. So I'm gonna cover my position for a few points, 4 points. Don't need to sit. Get a rally. We got that liquidation break, and so far just haven't seen much of a continuation. I'll watch the full halfway back short in GC, but that could be all the way back up at 3811.8. Put an order for some sales there. I'll put an order 11.8. 11.7 is my limit there in gold. That's the full halfway back short. It's about 4 points above us. Index is still boring, but that's when you got to adjust your expectations, right? Like you can't be looking for 70 points when a lot of times when we're in these slow markets, like when I'm looking at the ATR numbers, like 31 in the NQ, 6.25 in the ES. You're looking for trades outside of that, could take a while. Unless we hitting, like if we hit the 67.39, the core level here that I'm looking at in ES, sure. But any moves you're getting outside of that core level, any entries you're taking outside of those core position entries, not a great idea to just hold. Like unconditionally. Take your money and run. Bang out a few points. Maybe wait for that Jerome. Jerome. What you got, Jerome? 67 half, 67.50 half in the ES should act as resistance. I'm just going to take this NASDAQ off again. 20 points, just going to take it. And I'll short 77s again if we like actually get back up and fill. So I'm gonna place an order back at where I got short. I'm gonna the actual 50 there. I'm actually gonna and I'll try the ES too. I'm just that's an untested halfway back. I'm still bearish, but it's just gonna be a gyration, I think, just back and forth. Nice. Filled on the ES. Filled on the 57.5 in the ES. So we'll see where we get from that. That target, I'm going to move my brackets around. My brackets are like way too wide right now. I'm going to move it down to 39.25. We'll see what we do in the next 25 minutes. We're still not even 25 minutes since my NASDAQ entry. Like I said, we're slow, so I don't want to be short the NASDAQ and the ES at the same time. Not right now. Just kind of boring. Gold actually is still holding its short sequence. We might look to re-short that down here. Gonna get short gold again. Still targeting those 95s. Instant reaction for 4 points. And I'm not going to hold that ES longer than 11:30. So we'll have to see where we're at the European close. ES is looking at about 11 points for my target to entry to target. Had a lot of movement this morning, but so far doing all right. Staying alive. Taking winners off the table. Kind of hard to let a loser run today. If you're letting a loser run, you're being a loser. Because we're not running anyway. We're not running anywhere. Here we are rolling over, about to get that new low. That's path of least resistance is clearly lower here in the indexes. When you see those pops and those wicks up at resistance levels, and then, we spend a lot of time consolidating, we pop up, instantly rejected, right back to lows. New low in the ES. NASDAQ to follow. So I'm short ES, short gold again. So one of the keys to the weakness here this morning was watching the divergence. While the ES, like I said, in the first 5 minutes, the ES took out overnight highs, and the Nasdaq took out overnight lows. Now, one of those is going to be right. Like we can't continue to take out lows and highs in markets opposite of one another. Like we're not going to take out highs all day in the ES and take out lows all day in the NQ. One of them is going to follow the other. We did just trade the 38 of the extension in the ES at 40 43.5. That's the more aggressive level. That's a divergence. ES now new low of the day. Nasdaq not so far. That's 25 minutes since the NASDAQ entry. If you did take that with me, you would, at this point in time, be moving your stop down. I mean, I would move my stop down realistically to like 24,960 if I was still in that trade, but I am in the ES, and I will be looking to manage that position at 11:30. I have not been in my ES for 25 minutes yet, which is one time cycle according to me. But after 25 minutes, you want to be making the decision, am I moving my stop or am I taking my profits? What am I doing? But you need to be, managing the position after some action has happened. And there's always the take what the market gives you, right? Well, how do you know what the market gives you if you don't give it time to give it to you? Gonna take off my ES again. 4 points. Just not getting continuation. I'm not gonna inside of this range. We're not getting continuation. So sometimes you see like that little bit of profit, you just take it. I'm gonna short the halfway back for the day at 69s. In the NASDAQ. Drag that order in for the NQ. So just getting short right here. Targets are 18s. I'm going to give it 25 minutes. Just kind of the top of the range, bottom of the range. Here's the halfway back short from the overnight high, and GC needs to hold. We're going lower, otherwise we are just going right back to probably 38 19s. Oil wins the strongest market of the day award. Thing doesn't even know what a pullback is. Boring day, guys. Volatility is so tight in these indexes. And man, we are through. We're just all ripping in CL. I mean, we haven't even gotten close to a pullback here. I'm gonna go to see if I can find this series. Last anchor is 6:45 a.m. Here's this gold 50% retracement short. This extension here this morning. Traded, broke, liquidation, and then question is sometimes we can break along, but we just trade a different version. Question is, after this long is broken, can we hold this short? And if we do, we'll get that new low. If we can hold below this, we should rotate. Should have a drawing tool, but like roll over here. Shorts break or longs break. Can we hold a short? Coming into 11:30 New York. European session is going to close. At the halfway back short for the day in the NASDAQ right here. This has put a lid on us so far. We've had nothing but lower highs and lower lows. This is just a lower high here. ASTS is flying today. Just looking at some stocks. Couple minutes to European close. ES on lows. These markets are trading back and forth with who's leading us lower. going to be that Powell speech that moves the market. It's about an hour from right now. All right, I'm going to shut down the YouTube, keep the Zoom open with all my trades and whatnot, but I'm going to shut it. It's really not. I'll go over these markets. We're at 50% or tracing shorts in the NQ. Oil's just floating away in extensions from the 645 anchor. Gold is sitting inside a short that is not looking like it's having many participants. I do think we'll eventually get down to these lower levels at 37.94s. I think maybe what we held was just a halfway back front run from the overnight lows. The overnight low to high seems to have been where that bid came from. I do still think there's a possibility we rotate lower, but that maybe that's not till the afternoon or the gold pit closes. I'm not sure, but right now we are just trending higher since we've put in that low in GC. There's a tradable sequence here in NCL. I didn't want to be super aggressive with it, but we have proven the concept of longs at this point in time. So we'll keep an eye on that. That is definitely a trend change here in CL. Definitely a trend change. So indexes sitting inside shorts, downside targets. I do think we're going to continue to slowly drip lower. The important levels to pay attention to in ES later today are 67.33 and 67.26 half. Those are the important levels that I have. 24,881s in the NASDAQ and then 24,840s. That's important below us. See you guys tomorrow morning on YouTube, and I'll see you guys in the Zoom and Discord. Take care.